My name is Tina Wissen of Piton Sabi, also admin to the Polymer Clay Pens Group. Today we're going to be talking about Skinner blends. Skinner blends developed by Judith Skinner, who found a way to mix multiple or different colored clays together so that they gradually blend from one color to next. This technique can be used for a wide variety of cane designs and other projects you may use out of clay. So let's get started. Here is two examples of how I apply a Skinner blend. This example on the left shows a three-part blend with the black, the purple, and the white. The black being the inner shadow of each petal of this rose. And on this side on the right side shows a two-part blend of just purple and white, which helps to give it the effect of having the leaf or petal fold back and just give a light ring around the middle so that you can have the effects of the light shining on the flower. Here is an example of a two-part Skinner blend. I basically took the two colors individually, the purple and the white. I conditioned it through the pasta machine and by rolling it with my acrylic roller. And then we got to the point where I was able to cut it into squares and then half it and then fold it back over on itself so that it made two triangles. Each triangle has been butted together so that it makes it a fairly decent width, and I'm able to get it through the pasta machine at an easy effort. Here we are back at the pasta machine. I'm now going to be entering it to the point where I have the same direction every time. I'm going to go through first at the thickest setting. Now that I have a fairly long piece, I'm going to start folding it onto itself before I put it through the pasta machine. Always putting it with the fold end first because we don't want to force any more air into this than we have to. After you've run it through a few times, you'll start to see where the white is no longer as white as it used to be, and it'll start to blend. This is a great time to get started with increasing the thinness of your blends as you fold, but you also have to keep track of how much you're putting through, because if you put too much clay through, it's going to force it and cause something you don't want. So I'm going to fold it another time and I'm going to put it through my machine. Okay, I've done about 4 more times, and as you can tell, it's blended even more. No longer able to really see much of the white as I was. So it's gotten to the point I'm getting ready to do it the other direction so that it'll elongate this blend. Now before I'm making any changes to the thickness of my blend, I'm going to run it the different directions, starting with the white or the light end first and go through it the same setting. Changing it to the highest setting you can go. Now, depending on how much clay you actually want to put in your Skinner blend, you may need a very large work surface to be able to lay it completely out like I've done here. This is just a few ounces of clay, which you've already seen is grown into something about 1.5 feet long. So it does take some space as well as a non-stick surface so that it doesn't cling to everything that you set it down onto. Depending on your use of the Skinner blend will also depend on how you decide to fold it. You have two options. You can create a plug and roll it onto itself until you get to the very end, or you can fan fold it so that it creates a graduated block. It really all depends on the use that you plan on using it for. Here's the start of a 3-color Skinner blend that I've started. It has black and then a darker purple, a lighter purple, and then white. I didn't graduate it as much as I normally do, but this will be a great example for a demo. I have started to already round it and elongate it into a plug size so that it's more manageable to make a cane. And then I'm going to get it rolled out and we're going to see what we can make with it. Okay, I'm going to be using this clear piece of plexiglass, and all I do is lay it on it gently and roll back and forth until I get it to the diameter that I want it to be. Now you can do this by hand, but I found the more you do it by hand, the less chance you have of having a equal diameter throughout the whole rod, and this is a great way to help prevent that from happening. Alright, after I've completed rolling it out to the diameter I want, and it's about the same length as the tile that I was working with, I'm going to start to cut it into small segments so that I can make different types of design. I usually work with a segment about 2 inches long, depending on what my goal is, but you do want them to be equal. You can use a measuring tool at this point if you'd like, or you can just ballpark it, having it one match the other, and you're usually going to have a little bit left over. This is where designing with clay gets really interesting because you can do multiple things with this same exact cane that I just did a minute ago. You can have the lighter color be in the center, you can have the lighter color be on the outside, or you can make what I start with for a rose petal and have the darker on the inside, which is the deeper shadow, and the lighter on the outside, which is the light accent. This is where you can get really creative and work out different patterns depending on how the light affects different things that you're trying to replicate. So whether you end up putting the cane pieces towards the center with the white or towards the center with the dark, or wrap them around themselves to make a rose, all of these flower ideas came from one cane. So this is why it gets so interesting and you're able to do so many different things. So let's see what you can make and explore with your favorite color combinations and show us what you can do. See you later.